Coming from the Dallas market, where it has been, for the past 20 years, a fairly established market here with DFW, and moving down south to Central Texas, it's all brand new to everybody. Subs, cities, developers, contractors, whereas DFW kind of came up and was able to figure things out before everybody showed up in Central Texas over the past 2 to 5 years, and we're all trying to figure it out as we go.
Central Texas, again, is a challenge for everybody. Skilled labor, non-skilled labor. We're faced challenges. I had a subcontractor this week talking to me about a few things, and we were talking how we could service them better, and they were asking how they could service us better, and we do kind of a lessons learned from the past few projects. And I said, well, I think we struggled in some areas because we didn't have enough labor. And he said, I just lost 30 of my men in Austin to a company that just offered to pay people cash on a weekly basis for much more than the market is paying those laborers. You take that and go to a GC and go, sorry, I can't do the skill set that you asked me to and that you hired me for because I lost, a tenth of my workforce. That is an amplification of what Austin has experienced across the board. I'd say that is probably, one of the biggest challenges that Austin and Central Texas will have over the next few years is cost of living and labor force that can do the work and live in the area to a reasonable cost. It's going to be a challenge that we're all going to have to face.
It's a bigger issue, I think, in Austin than it is San Antonio, is the labor market in Austin has such a high number of high earning individuals that it's pushed out some of those families that would work with the subcontractors where they used to be local. Now they're an hour and a half, 2 hours away. We've got a couple subs on the MEP side that we're bringing up from San Antonio because they can't find any work in their Austin office. They can't find any labor to get to the jobs that are 20 minutes outside their back door. So they're having to drive 2 hours up from San Antonio to get to our job sites, which ultimately they're either getting up earlier in the morning or they're starting later in the day and ending earlier in the day, which is extending out the durations of the projects.
Austin is known for its innovative market. It's kind of the new Silicon Valley, of Texas or the U.S. as to where San Francisco used to be. You got a lot of the California headquarters moving this way. You have Tesla, you have Samsung, you have a lot of technology and startup companies in Austin. I think they're open to new ideas. I think their desire is to have things done differently. And I think that's why Austin is so attractive, is because the labor pool there is at a different level of creativity and thought process. And so you have a lot of young people coming in, Google, Facebook, Indeed, in the tech side, changing things, even in construction, which in history has lagged behind in technology quite a bit. It is starting to gain a little bit of momentum because we have to keep up with the speed and the cost and the efficiencies. And how does Gordon Highlander come in and help that? We have challenged an immature market in industrial space specifically to do things like a mature market, and that's in the design, build, and build assist, where we take and can speed up the process, we can make it more efficient, and we can help establish budgets and cost up earlier in the process, especially important when the supply chain issues or cost increases. A year ago, we were talking about force majeure because everyone couldn't provide the things that they had written contracts for, and people were, throwing their hands in the air. And I think Austin or Central Texas area is a place where we've seen that take off and be in the hot spot in a growth mode, whereas a lot of people were hitting the pause button or stopping. Austin just continued to excel and grow. And so from an industry standpoint, I think Austin is demanding that, which is why a lot of these companies are going there.
Gordon Highlanders started, our foundation as a company was on design build side, design build assist. What we have found moving down to the Central Texas market is they were so used to either residential or on the commercial side, you go to an architect, you go to an engineer, and they give you a set of plans, and you go to permit and you go to construction with it. We have found that it has benefited the market just because there is so much work going on down there, is being able to provide another value proposition to our client of saying, hey, look, here's the design from our MEPs. Can you stamp it? Can we go to permit? And it saves them from being overwhelmed, because some of those engineers will take 3 to 4 months to get us a set of plans that we can go to permit with. So we're having to come up with creative solutions with the MEP design, also on the finish side of the project. So you get all the backbone of a project done, and you get down to the last month, and all of a sudden you can't find your flooring hadn't shown up, or your ceramic tile hadn't shown up. And so recently on a project, we had to make a pivot. Our ceramic tile was late, and so we made the call on Gordon Highlanders' dime to put in FRP, go concrete floors, put in toilets and restroom partitions, call in a final. And we basically turned a new build out into a remodel, tore it all back out when the actual finishes did arrive. It's just being able to adapt on the fly, think creatively, come up with new solutions that a couple years ago you might not have even had to consider.
I don't know how to do everything. I rely on my subs a lot to teach us, to show us a new way. Again, in the design build assist, that is allowed. When we allow the people that are responsible for the maintenance and the warranties and the things to do the service down to the nuts and bolts that are put into the products, right? When they're responsible for that, you don't think they want to design it where they don't have to come back and maintenance it? That gives some validity to a relationship if it's established, to they're gonna design it cost-effective, efficiently, and a product that you can stand behind, because now they own it. They've designed it and they're installing it. Talk about one line, right? Like, now you have someone that designed it, installed it, and so if you have an issue, it saves the architects from being responsible for that and people pointing the finger as well. And so we've seen that positive spin on it too, with clients really appreciating that and seeing that value.
There's an easier way to do this. There's a cheaper way to do it. It brings value to our clients and tenants, because instead of paying for an engineer and waiting for 3 to 4 months for a set of MEP plans to come out, we can take that to our subs and in a month or sooner have something that we can go in for permit with. And it's cheaper to do it that way, because the subs, they know how to design it most cost efficiently, because if they didn't, they wouldn't win the projects.
I give this as an example. I have someone that said, hey, I have a new project. And it's like, okay, where are you at in the process? Is it designed yet? No, but we'll reach out to you when it is. Hold on, well, can we help you design it? What does that mean? Well, we're not designers. Those are professionals that we partner with. But there's a design build where we own the whole process. You have one line of communication, and the design and everything behind it, is through one avenue. Sometimes it's about your priorities. Is cost your priority? There's a solution for that. Is it schedule? Well, we can run it different there. Really asking the questions, getting with the client, understanding the end goal and the results that they need. That's really what we find a challenge, because we get all the time, like, you're a contractor, why are you asking those questions? Well, we're asking because if you tell me and we all know the solution or where you're trying to get, then we can be creative in how we get you there faster, more cost effective, whatever it is. Then you throw in the mix of the municipalities and the infrastructure not being there, and now you have real challenges. We started a job a year ago, and I think in the last year, none of the inspectors are there anymore. They're outsourcing their plan review, they're outsourcing their inspections. And so we had positions where we had something inspected, and then the next 2 weeks go by and a new inspector with a different third party shows up and inspects it completely different and says, I need you to do something different. That creates challenges for us as a contractor, but it's also challenges with the city, because now they don't have symmetry in how they're doing things. And so we've even started trying to work with municipalities and how they do their processes and say, hey, how can we help you as well? And it's been well received when we can get to the point where they listen, or they're not doing it the same old way with the same old results. And so that's the challenge I've been tasked with opening our Austin office, is getting in front of clients, getting in front of the architects, getting in front of the brokers or the industrial players and going, hey, let us help you. But a lot of them have a guard up and don't necessarily understand or trust that we can help them if they let us. And I think what's been fun from Gordon Highlanders' perspective is when we do deliver that excellence and when we do get in the door, I've never had a bad experience from the client, or an experience where someone has said, I shouldn't have done that, I'd have done it different. It's always been positive, it's always been refreshing, because our motto is, servant leadership, servant to the clients. And I think that is portrayed all the way through the process, even when we can get up in early and help them with cost and schedules and delivery and everything else.